Hi guys! So today's video is going to be on the pros and cons of getting an ADN versus a BSN. So for those of you who don't know what an ADN is an associate's degree in nursing, and then a BSN is a bachelor's of science in nursing. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about the pros and cons, advantages and disadvantages of getting one degree versus another, because it's definitely an important decision when you're deciding, if you want to go ADN or if you want to go BSN. So I'm here to talk about some of the pros and cons of each of them. So I'm going to start off with an ADN. So an ADN is usually received from a community college, and so that means that it usually is a bit cheaper, quite a bit cheaper, to receive an ADN versus receiving a BSN. ADNs typically also have less prereqs or less credit hours that you have to complete in the entire program, so you're going to be able to get your ADN a lot quicker and a lot cheaper. Another great thing about your ADN is that you're still going to get your RN license in the end. So after you finish the program, you're still going to take your NCLEX and get your RN license just like you would if you were getting your BSN. ADNs typically start off at the same pay as BSNs as well, but one disadvantage, it's harder to advance with an ADN. And what I mean by that is if you want to become a nurse manager or advance in your hospital, they typically look more towards the BSNs when they're looking to hire someone for an advanced position in the hospital. Another great advantage for an ADN is that after you get your ADN, you can go work as a nurse, and then you can go back to school to get your BSN if you choose to do so. And oftentimes a lot of hospitals will cover additional education expenses in order for you to advance and grow as a nurse. ADN programs typically also are less competitive to get into because they are community college and not a four-year university. There's usually a shorter waiting list because it's less time to complete the program, and so it's a little bit easier to get accepted into these programs. So those are some advantages to getting your ADN. Besides it being quicker and cheaper, you'll be able to work sooner, which means that you'll have an income sooner, and then you can advance to a BSN later on if you choose to do so. Now I'm going to talk about BSNs. So BSNs are more expensive because they are typically from a four-year university, which means that you're going to have about 2 years of prereqs and about 2 years of the actual nursing program. So it does take a longer amount of time to complete and it is more expensive. In the end, just like an ADN, you are going to take the NCLEX and get your RN. So both degrees, in the end, you will have your RN. Now, some advantages of BSNs, because you're probably like, well, why would I want to spend more money? Why would I want to take more time to get a BSN when I can still get my RN with an ADN? So for BSNs, you do have better advancement opportunities. And so if you're wanting to be a nurse manager, like I was talking about with the ADN, you're a lot more likely to get hired for those positions with a BSN. A lot of hospitals are also starting to only hire BSNs. I know that for a lot of hospitals around me, and I've read online that this is happening, across the nation, is they're typically wanting to hire BSNs and not so much ADNs. There are still a lot of hospitals out there that do hire ADNs, so if you have your ADN or you're getting your ADN right now, don't worry, you're not never going to be able to find a job, but they do tend to like to hire BSN. So if you have two people applying for a job and one has their ADN and one has a BSN, they're going to want to typically go with the BSN. Another thing is that ADNs and BSNs usually start out at like the same pay grade, but like I said earlier, BSNs typically tend to advance more rapidly, which means that your pay grade will also increase as well. BSNs also require more research base and critical thinking courses throughout the prereqs and the nursing program, and so BSNs tend to get a little bit more well-rounded education, and it has been shown to increase your critical thinking skills in the hospital setting, which has been shown to reduce errors as well. So not saying that ADNs you don't get a good education, you still do. BSNs just require more credit hours and more courses, which means that you are getting a little bit more well-rounded of an education. Another advantage of a BSN is a lot of master's programs or nurse practitioner or nurse anesthetist programs require that you have a BSN in order to get into them. I'm not sure if that's for every single program that's out there, but from what I have read and from what I have researched, that if you want to go on and get your MSN, your master's, or you want to become a nurse practitioner, you usually are required to have your BSN. So like I said earlier, you can get your ADN and then go on and get your BSN and then go on to get your master's. But if you already have your BSN, that's just one less step that you have to actually complete. So those are some of the pros and cons of getting an ADN versus a BSN. I definitely think that if you are researching the two ideas right now, that it's really good to put in that research and put in that time because it is a big decision. I wish you guys the best of luck in making your decision, and if you have any other questions, leave them in the comments below. Make sure you give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.